Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Football United TV. This is the Transfer Zone. I'm joined by special guest Michelle today. And of course, I'm here with Marley talking about transfers all over the world. And you know what's coming right now? It's the intro.
Hi guys, can you hear me? Sorry, I think I lost audio. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Sorry, I think I
We got you, Michelle. We can hear you. We can hear you.
It's the first time our intro came with lyrics.
Oh, no, she left. She got cut off. No, Michelle will be back in a second. There are complications. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's midnight. It's a late one here. Michelle's coming back in now. There you are, Michelle. We can hear you. You right?
Sorry, I think my AirPods got connected. Well, I don't know, automatically. I guess they were out. When these guys are off of their case, they tend to connect randomly onto your phone, and so I had these on. It was a whole mess. But anyways, hi guys.
Do you know what, Michelle? I have that at work. I have an earphone, one earphone in, and then I pick up somebody else's.
It's
stuff,
weird.
You know? I'm like, what's going on? Like, I thought I was listening to house music. Now I'm listening to folk music. Like, what's going on? Yes, welcome back, everybody. This is Football United TV. This is Transfer Zone. I'm here with Marley and special guest Michelle. We are going to be delving into a few transfers that have happened recently, and we are starting off with a big topic that everybody's talking about in the UK, Man United fans, especially around Europe as well, because he potentially wants to go somewhere else. So maybe starting off with you, Michelle. Have you heard anything about this, about Ronaldo wanting to leave, wanting to stay in the Champions League? Because, of course, Man United are now in Europa League from finishing sixth last season. Do you think he is going to stay at Man United, or do you think he should make that move?
Well, who has not heard about this? Yes, I think the whole world has. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting how we were super excited. I think actually about a year ago, when we first connected, we were talking about Ronaldo and his move to Manchester United. Very excited fans, but now he wants to leave. Do I think he leaves the season? Probably not. I think how things work out. It seems like he's stuck unless he does have one of the best agents in the world, unless they're able to do something with that. But I do definitely think that once it's one and done, his time there is very timed and limited. So we would love to see him here in the States. Will he move here? I don't think so. Just because his son is developing as well as a soccer player, he has the best of the best. When it comes to training over here, the academy and stuff. Yes, it is growing, but there's nothing that you can compare with like the top leagues in the world in Europe and getting trained by all, all the best, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think he would make that move here. Maybe one day. I don't know. He does have a lot of money, so maybe he will make that move eventually. And he can do anything. Fly out on the weekends, train over there during the week. I don't know, something crazy, right?
Well, Beckham probably would do that. So, I can see him doing something like that. Maybe, he's a world star and he travels all around. He takes his fitness very seriously as well. So
Right.
I'm pretty sure whoever gets him, and look, I'm pretty sure David Beckham's actually probably give him a call, because he's got the Man United link and probably said, would you like to come to Inter Miami? I think they have they got someone recently into Miami? I know Phil Neville's the manager.
Right. I think they were in talks with Messi. I mean, right now, who the club that's making a lot of noise, making these big signings are LAFC, right? They just got Bell, they got Cellini, and then I think they were supposed to. I mean, they were even in the running to get Suarez, right? But that fell through, and for obvious reasons. I mean, but it's crazy. They're doing so much on their side, but yeah, I mean, it's I think for now, I think LAFC is the one that's the top contender for all these big superstars in Europe coming over here and whatnot.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. What about you, Molly? Do you see Ronaldo maybe going to LAFC at some point? That would probably be the club for him, wouldn't it? But I think, talking about Man United as well, do you think he might stay there and give it one more season because he's contracted till the very end? So it's not necessarily that you can just get out of it. No clubs are really in for him at the moment as well, like in Europe that are in the Champions League, apart from, of course, Sporting Lisbon, but he's already cancelled that out to the press as well from his own mouth. So it's not like that's just a rumor. So what do you make of it, Molly?
Well, first of all, it took me a while to understand the obvious reasons that Michelle was talking about, and I remember the biting, right? Like that's probably what she was mentioning. That's funny, mate. If I'm being honest, I'm so tired of the whole Ronaldo thing. I'm tired of him. Like I don't know. Like I've seen enough of Ronaldo. I don't necessarily like the character. I know he's a great player, but I don't like. I'm not a fan of his, and I don't necessarily like talking about it. Like it's stretching so much, this saga. I think he's gonna stay United. I don't think he's gonna do much at United when you're comparing him to who he is, right? Like Ronaldo wise, I don't think he's gonna like be doing the same there. Doesn't seem like there's enough motivation. There's clearly some issues there. I find it so funky for him to go to Atletico Madrid. Like that makes very little sense to me. And those were like kind of strong rumors. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. I like for a long time I thought like he wouldn't have been able to play in the MLS, but that doesn't seem to be an issue. And it's definitely a league that makes sense for him because it's a league that would benefit a lot from star power, right? Like Ronaldo is one of those guys that can literally change the culture in the US and like improve the national team within like 6 years if he plays there for a couple of seasons. So it would definitely be something special. I think it's gonna happen at some point. But right now I have no idea where he's going, man. I think he's gonna end up staying. And it's probably not for the best when you're talking like if you're him. But I don't see any club that can actually that actually wants to afford Ronaldo right now, right? So I don't know. There's just this culture like aging players, like they're not a hit in Europe right now. So
you were talking about Atletico Madrid, and Man United have actually got to play them behind closed doors this weekend, so that could be interesting because obviously Ronaldo might be traveling with them. I hear that he is back at training. And I know Alex
what's
Ferguson.
the point having a behind closed doors game between Atletico Madrid and Man United?
I know, it's stupid. You just had one as well, and you did lose, didn't you?
Oh, to Brentford. That's like that makes a little more sense. Like that's a big game, right? Like Atletico and United, like that's a huge game. People would watch it. Like okay. Anyway.
Yeah. What about that link? What about that link, Michelle? Atletico Madrid. I don't see it being the place that he really should go. Their type of play doesn't seem to be what he would be good with. You know, it's not really a club that's fit for him and the way he plays.
No, I don't think so. I don't. It just doesn't fit. And I remember when he was in Madrid, it was this big rivalry between both, obviously. I just don't see it. It would feel a little weird to me. It would feel a little bit more of a sellout type of thing. I just don't see him. Do I see him? I don't know. I don't know where he would go. I don't know. I have no clue.
I don't even think he does either.
Yeah, he clearly doesn't. Yeah.
This is the funny thing.
But yeah, I mean, if you would want to come overseas, hey, I think everyone here would be super excited, to be honest.
Ronaldo, if you're watching, Michelle's trying to lure you over here, probably to Austin as well, right? That would be nice.
I doubt they would spend that much money, to be honest. They barely even spend any. So we have a cheap club, but they've done good so far.
Well, we are going to move on actually to your club, and you did tell me about this earlier on, the signing that's happened today or maybe yesterday. It was put through. Emiliano Rigoni signs for Austin FC. Come from Sao Paulo, right?
São Paulo.
Sao Paulo.
Sorry, I'm British, aren't I?
No, the sound, like, yeah, it's a tough one. Don't judge yourself. It's good.
It's like, yeah, Sao Paulo.
Sao Paulo's good enough, yeah.
Paulo, yeah.
Paulo,
São Paulo, yes.
What do you? Yeah, tell us, Michelle. Tell us all about it.
So it's a lot of excited fans here in Austin about his signing. He will be joining Sebastian Driussi, who's Austin FC's goal scorer right now. He's in the running for the Golden Boot with 13 goals. They both played at Zenit before he left, and then Sebastian Driussi came to sign to Austin. He left to Sao Paulo to play over there. However, it is important to say that he's had very, very little minutes. I think I was looking at his stats today. 55 goals in his whole career. He played with Argentina in 2017 as a young player. But the fact that we have three Argentinians here that are doing such a good job, or we would have three Argentinians. The chemistry between these guys right now, they've done so well together. I think he would be an addition to the playoff when we get to that playoff point, because right now we're right in the middle of the MLS season. Austin FC has, fluctuated from first to second place. Very new club, second, year in the MLS. And so Emiliano, he would bring maybe a little bit more chemistry between the guys. So yeah, a lot of excited fans. I don't know if you know more of Sao Paulo and his type of play. But it would be interesting to hear a little bit about, his exit coming, leaving Brazil. So I thought today was perfect.
Marley, that's a question for you, I think.
Yeah.
You are muted.
My bad. Yeah, I'm a little sad because I feel like I'm gonna be disappointing, because I know I'm the Brazilian, right? Like, I'm supposed to follow Brazilian football very thoroughly. I usually leave the studiest part of that to Caio and Johnny, my good friends that are like frequently here on the channel as well. So, like, I'm not too familiar with Rigoni. Like, I've probably seen him play against Fluminense, seen a couple of games. Like, never caught my eye to a point where I can say I know about him. It's
Right.
And I know that I know the levels are slightly different, like, right? Like, I know the defending in the MLS is still quite weak, so like I'm assuming he's gonna get better numbers now than he has for a long time, like, because he's had, like, number wise, he's had two good seasons, right? Like, from 2017 to 2018, like he did okay. And in São Paulo is one of the biggest clubs in Brazil, one of the biggest clubs in the continent, but they haven't been too good in a long time. And the fact that he hasn't played well in there, he hasn't gotten a lot of minutes there, tells me that he's not going through just a good moment in his career. Like, he hasn't been too good recently. I know that he was loaned out twice in Italy. Like, he played in Sampdoria and Atalanta, like never quite picked up either. Like, I think his first season at Zenit and his last at Independiente were the best ones, right?
Right. I think they got 3 cups, 1 Supercopa, 1 in the league. And it's interesting that you say that you don't see him as a big contender, because here they see him as a really big signing. He got the designated spot. You can only get 3 in the MLS for a club. And so I think he got paid, or the transfer fee was like 4 million for him. Okay. So it's very interesting. I know the expectations probably from outside of the MLS are very low, but I think these guys, at least the technical staff, has done such a good job to getting players that aren't necessarily known, and now they're starting to, do a really good job here at this new club.
Yeah.
This could be
I
new
feel
for
like
him, couldn't it? This could be a new chapter for him as well, and it is
absolutely
a big name that has experience. You did say as well, Marley, that he's been at teams in Europe as well, like Sampdoria.
I think he's played at Zenit, Sampdoria, Atalanta, and Elche in Spain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that's it.
it's good
And
experience.
and then São Paulo, like who's
Right.
São Paulo is a much bigger club than most of the clubs I've mentioned before that, by the way. Just because we're not in Europe doesn't, like, Brazilian clubs, like, give us some respect too.
Right.
And I think it's cool when this happens, because I know a lot of the times, and it's important for the MLS to invest in star power because of other stuff as well, right? Like to attract more public. Unlike most countries that follow football, football is like the fourth biggest sport and like fifth biggest sport in the US. So like the star power is important, but when you're trying to be competitive, it probably makes more sense to invest in players that are not that expensive, so they can bring in more. And you're saying, Austin's doing really well this season. They're proof of that, right? Like they're not a club that spend a lot of money, so.
Right.
I hope it works out. I'm just like
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar. I don't think the fans are like throwing a fuss or anything like that because of him leaving, because he hasn't been starting too many games.
Right.
I think the most important attacker in São Paulo right now is Luciano. He's played in Fluminense as well. Good player, good attacker. But yeah, that's most of my knowledge in Rigoni. I wish I knew more.
I do have one thing. So it was ironic that I was watching Stranger Things, and the guy that plays Vecna, he was actually at a Sao Paulo game recently, and
Wow.
and then we started to hear these rumors with, Austin FC is interested in a player that plays for this club, and I was like, oh wow, the world really is so small.
Are the fans over there, Michelle, are they excited about this as well? And looking at the team, you said it's only been 2 years Austin FC have been around. So bringing in a Brazilian talent could change up things, right?
100%.
He's Argentinian, coming from Brazil.
I mean, playing in Brazil. Brazilian talent, like coming from like.
I understood what you were getting at. Yeah, no, it's late. It's past midnight. It's past your bedtime. But yeah.
Oh. Okay, what's happening?
Michelle, you there?
Michelle, we lost you, and there's something weird happening with the sound there. It's like aliens are trying to contact us. Michelle? Michelle?
Can't hear you.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. What's that?
Definitely offer so many times the fight.
There's something playing, Michelle, in the background. There you go. Are you there?
Interesting. I have no clue what was playing. What was
Please
playing?
continue. Sorry. Yeah, we heard conversations in the background. That was crazy.
That is so weird. I have no clue. Maybe it was a podcast I was listening to. I have no clue.
I think Ronaldo's tapping in. I think he's like trying to find out why you're trying to lure him over. Right.
That's so funny. But yeah, I guess I was going back to, let's go back to the power, the star power, Latin America power that Austin FC has. He has, they have an Uruguayo, someone from Uruguay. And then we have, Argentinians. Then we have from Ecuador. We have Brazilians. So, we have a melting pot of this, of these players. But I think I was mentioning we just got on loan Washington Corozo for 6 months. So the second half, he did this really great bicycle kick assist where he was actually trying a chilena, but it turned out to be a bicycle kick. But anyways, he just got here. He's doing such a good job. He's trying to play for Ecuador in the World Cup. So the nice thing right now about the MLS is that you have all these players that are trying to represent their countries in the World Cup. And so really doing a good job here now when we're in the middle of the season is very, very important. And so it's going to be very important for these guys as well, right? To get recognized as the MLS is right now, I think we're in the middle of it, and everyone else is about to get started in their seasons. And World Cup is the biggest thing in soccer, so it's exciting. Not a lot of money spent on these guys. You don't know these players really. I didn't know who Sebastian Driussi is, but now I feel here, at least in the US, people are starting to get to know who this guy is, and talent outside of Mexico, outside of Europe. And so, that's really about it.
Michelle, do you think that more talent is going to be attracted to the MLS because the World Cup's coming up in 2026, and of course it's split between the 3 countries? So do you think that is going to lure people over maybe in the next, how many years is it? 4 years?
4 years, yeah, I think so. I mean, I think as you see it, and you're starting to see it in the MLS, how, at least in my opinion, I think a lot of people are paying a little bit more attention to it. And as we get ready for the World Cup here in 2026, it's going to be very exciting for the sport here and for the players here, and all eyes on this side of the world, I think. It's gonna be fun.
It is. I'm looking forward. I'm actually thinking I'm going to come out for the World Cup. I'm definitely coming out for the World Cup. Yeah, got to.
Yeah.
Got to. Never been to one. Like, I wasn't born when they had it in England, so I've got to get to one, at least one. Can't hear you now, Marley. Why'd you keep muting yourself?
I'm sorry. No, just so that there's no outside noises. And don't lie to us. You were born way before 66, my man. We all know that. Don't try to fool us. Don't try to. Come on.
I'm not suffering with the Benjamin Button case, okay? That's not what's happening here, right? It's not the reverse cycle. I promise you. Let's move on to our next player then, and I'll let you fire away, Marley, because it was your choice of player. Dani Alves has left Barcelona on a free to, I couldn't even spell Mexican right, side Pumas. I know it's so late for me, innit? I'm just like,
I should have picked up on it. It's fine. Yeah.
What do you make of this move? Look, we were saying before the stream as well that Dani Alves, apart from Messi, has played the most amount of games for Barcelona any other player in their history. So that's pretty impressive. And you were saying as well, Marley, that he's been to so many clubs as well. And it's just like, you look at Xavi and Iniesta, they've pretty much been at the club their whole entire life, and he's still played more games than them. So it's quite incredible. And this is a good signing for Pumas, right, as well. A big marquee signing, right, guys? I mean, Marley, would you make
historic?
It is, right?
No, it's huge. It's huge. And Dani Alves, we're talking about that in the background. I do feel like I should say this, even though like he's Brazilian. I tend to defend Brazilian players a little more than I do others, but like Dani Alves, he's the most successful player in the history of the game. He's very far away from being the best player in the history of the game, which means he's quite lucky, right? Like he was quite fortunate with the teams he was on at the times he was on. Like he was never the most important player in a team, but props to an amazing career, the best career ever, definitely from a right back. And I know it might seem weird that he went to Pumas. I know it's historic and all of that, but if you think about it, it actually makes a lot of sense for him to go to the Mexican League right now. Like it's the Mexican League is loaded. In general, they can pay a lot more than the Brazilian League itself. So if he's not too attached with a Brazilian team, things didn't work out too well with him at São Paulo. The team he's the closest to, Bahia, like that's a side that's in Serie B right now. They're in the second division. So I think he's going to. I'm not sure as to how competitive Pumas has been in the Mexican League lately, but I know it's going to be more competitive than Bahia, and I think he can still make a difference. He's one of the most intelligent football players I've ever seen. He's also very talented. Nowadays, people don't ask him to defend as much as he had to back in the days, and he was never a great defender either. So if you play him like more up front, I'm thinking he's probably going to have that liberty in there. And in his first game, he got an assist, right? Like he hit the ground rolling on already. And that's something very special. I thought it was so funny that when he like he was trying to win the fans, right? So he said he always felt really connected with Mexico because he watched a lot of Mexican content, like some Mexican comedies that were big in Brazil as well.
Really?
El Chavo being the main one, Chaves for us Brazilians. But yeah, that was huge. Like I watched that every day, so I'm
Yeah.
assuming he did too. But I just thought that was a funny thing to say. That he like Chiquichitas and El Chavo. That's why like I'm very connected with Mexico. But I think it's gonna be dope. I think it's gonna be dope, and I feel like in general, the Mexican league's not going to have this kind of superstar there. So the young players at Pumas, they're probably going nuts. Like they can play with Dani Alves, who's had the most special career ever. So yeah, like historic, as Michelle says.
You forgot that Ronaldinho played in Liga MX towards
He
the
did for Querétaro. Yes, yes. I actually
He
think
also
Dani
played in
Alves.
jail as well. I just want to clarify that.
Yes, yes. He
He's
played in
also
jail
played
as
in
well.
prison.
Yes,
And he won as well. He won. He won
yeah.
a big piece of ham in a tournament. In
Yeah, I
True.
mean, Dani Alves is not nearly as big as Ronaldinho was, but I feel like it's going to work out better. Ronaldinho
Yeah,
was in the twilight years of his career when he
yeah.
was. I mean, Dani Alves is 39, but Ronaldinho had given up playing. That's the thing.
Yes, I think he still has more. He's not ready to, give up. But yes, it is. It's not Barcelona. The way I had such a sour mouth. What how his exit happened over there. It seems like Real Madrid and Barcelona have just been so shitty to their players, to their
Mm.
star players when they exit. But he's so welcome, very excited, when it comes to the fans and Liga MX. You were talking about Pumas. Pumas actually went to a CONCACAF final where they played Seattle. They ended up losing, but Pumas has been wonky. They're either on or off in Liga MX as far as last season. They still need, some adjustments, which I think that's why they're rebuilding. That's why they're investing, letting player go, like Corozo, who just came here from Pumas. So they're kind of this rebuilding process. But I think, he would be such a great addition for the fans and for the club right there in Mexico City. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, he's always said, I think I was watching the Olympics this summer where he was congratulating some Mexican players, and he was just saying, I love Mexico so much. So I think, he always tried to make that connection even before coming or going to Mexico. But yeah, I mean, I think that's very historic for the club. So he's only there for one season. So this.
Oh, it's gone mute again.
We lost you again.
We lost you again. It's really crazy. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to check out with my it's probably my end. There you go. You're good. There you go.
Okay, thank you. No, you're fine. I don't know what. Once I stop hearing myself, I know.
So what happens, right,
something's
is you
wrong.
go mute, and then there's a conversation going on between two people in the background. It's the
So
weirdest
weird.
thing. I've never. It's like someone's tapping in, Michelle. But you still there? Oh, we've completely lost you. Try come back in and out there, Michelle, if you are, because you've gone completely blank now. Oh, there you are. There you are. There you
No,
are.
I was exiting
Oh,
other
sorry.
windows. No, you're fine. I wasn't sure what's going on, but anyways, long
It's the
story
midnight
short.
bug.
Yeah, long story short, I mean he's here until June, I believe June or July of next year. So we'll see what happens with him. But very exciting stuff happening in the soccer world, at least. Gareth Bell and blah blah blah. All these other signings on this side. It seems like in Europe, it's you got actually. There's Marcelo Flores just signed. And so I think we were talking last time he was with Arsenal. Arsenal, kind of loaned him out for a little bit so he can make. So it's some moves happening. Things are going on. It's exciting.
In the Mexican league, who's the club at the moment that you would have thought could lure better players than Pumas? Because you said they're not exactly the best team at the moment, but they are gathering some sort of momentum.
Yeah, so Pumas you would think that they are willing to, or at least a lot of the Mexican teams are willing to pay a lot of buku money for these players. But actually, Pumas is one of the cheaper clubs, one of the cheaper clubs who don't really spend a lot of money on these players. I think right now the players or the teams that people want the fans want to get big players is like Cruz Azul, probably America, Chivas. But you have to think about a lot of these clubs get players from Brazil, from Latin America, instead of trying to get big players. And they also have such a big pool of their own academy players that they don't feel like they need to get big names for a league that isn't growing compared to MLS. The league's been going on for many, many years, and it's very, very competitive. Aside that they're not part from Libertadores, but I think they're good on that side. But big names like this never happens, so it's a good day when it does happen, and we see it every once in a while.
Well, yeah, I was talking to Marley about it, and I'll let him explain a little bit as well, how the Brazilian league is looking to change its ways and try to not necessarily attract players, but keep their best players in the country, because I think that's the problem that I think Brazilian fans, Marley, in all respects, have, is that the fact that their star players at the ages of, say, between 19 and 22 end up going to Europe, and people at home don't get to see them play for the clubs that they've been brought up playing into. So it's going to be different, isn't it, Marley? I have been looking a lot into it. I know the Athletic have been talking about it a lot recently as well. The restructure looks amazing, mate. It's as if it's an international thing where the whole unit is trying to gather momentum to bring more eyes onto the Brazilian league, because you've got some tremendous players coming out of Brazil. And even now, right now, you look at the international squad for Brazil, it's getting better than it has been in the last, say, 8 to 10 years. Can I say that? 8 to 10 years?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
So, yeah, Brazil, what do you make? What do you think of that, Marley? I mean, from what you're hearing over there as well, surely it's getting better as well, right?
It's looking more promising now, but that's an attempt that's lasted throughout for the last 20 years. People have complained that players leave too soon, and it's been the case forever, ever since the European clubs started tapping into the Brazilian market thoroughly, because some business happened back in the 80s, back in the 90s, but late 90s when really all great Brazilian players left Brazil. That's when it started happening. And it still does, but it's true that a lot of Brazilian clubs are getting a lot better at being organized. So you have these 3 clubs that are doing that are always doing really well. Flamengo's doing horribly right now. I love to see it, but they're a great club. They're really strong. Palmeiras is the best. Palmeiras is by far the best club in the entire continent. And Atlético Mineiro is struggling a bit right now, but they're also a massive club. Corinthians is back with Williams playing there, and he's playing well. They're back at being a great club as well. Fluminense doesn't have the financial support that a lot of these clubs have, but we have such a talented academy that we can afford to sell one player a season, and we usually have more than one great player coming from the academy, so we can sustain a little more. You have a lot of clubs that have been doing horribly, but they're being purchased by really rich guys, like Cruzeiro was bought by Ronaldo. You have John Textor buying Botafogo, who's a tiny, tiny club. I mean, it's a big club, but it's a tiny, big club in Brazil. Still, he felt like it was good business.
So Ronaldo owns 2 clubs, right? He owns...
he owns one in Spain.
Real
and
Valladolid.
one in Valladolid, yeah, exactly. And Cruzeiro now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the team where he started his career, by the way. He's from Rio, but he began at São Cristóvão. That's a really small club in Rio, but he went to São Paulo, he went to Cruzeiro, sorry. And from there, he went to his European career, I think, to Holland first. And Vasco is being bought by the same guys that own Genoa. So we're having more owners. They're finding, because it was always tricky for a big club in Brazil to be sold. That can't really happen like it does in Europe. but we've restructured things in a way where you can like kind of pull it off. You make the club. I don't have the tools to explain that, but like it becomes this association where you can technically have a CEO, and then yeah, like more clubs are becoming more like financially stable, so that way they can maintain players a little more. But it's not always that the player wants that, because there's a lot of benefits to a player going really early to Europe as well.
Right. I
But
think that's still the dream, right? Even in Mexico, it's like I think the big apple is going to Europe, signing with
I
the
remember
big.
Chicharito, Michelle, when he come to Man United. Chicharito, little P.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my! And he was so like, wow, I'm at the big stage, and like it was just, it's nice to see. There was another Mexican I think played for Spurs in the last few years, and did play for Barcelona as well. He did start off at Barcelona's academy very young. Can't remember his name, and he played around the same time as Chicharito did. He come over. Oh my lord, why have I done that to myself? I hate doing that.
Are you,
we've had Mexican players at Arsenal, but I don't remember any at Tottenham.
I don't know.
Yeah, he played for Barcelona and Spurs. Go look it up. Yeah, go look it up. Go look it up while we continue.
You're not talking about Gio dos Santos, right?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are.
Yay!
Yeah, they obviously are Brazilian. They started their career right here in Monterrey. Well, his father was a soccer player, Brazilian, married to Mexican mother. But yeah, they started the academy over there in Barcelona. Why couldn't I say? And now I have Brazil.
Because of him.
But yeah. But it's funny. I was talking to my brother. Now the person who's the manager for Barcelona B is Rafa Marquez, who is another big name. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're gonna start to see, I feel like, a little bit more movement as well. And I think Liga MX also faces some of the same struggles that like in Brazil, but I think the difference is that they have money. It's just that they're so reluctant about selling players because they want to keep them there, and that's where they get criticized because they want them to journalists want young players to go to Europe to have a better career, have more Mexicans abroad, but it's very interesting.
It is, and you know what I see. I think this is the whole point of doing these sort of shows as well, because I think that the tables could turn one day. Yeah. It's not necessarily going to be ruled by Europe football anymore. It's going to be people going to be looking into the MLS at some point. Maybe not. I'm not talking about like the near future.
Maybe when we're 60.
Yeah.
No, come on. We got look at what the women are
not
doing.
Not you, Maddie. Not 5 years from now. She means when we're 60, like 30 years from now. But I still don't think that would have happened. It's I love you, mate. I'm sorry.
No.
Maddie's like 5 years older than me. I don't know why I joke like this. But anyway.
I was just throwing it out. I just think that's how I just think it's gonna be a while for that to happen, to be honest.
But I don't see why. I mean, like I just said, you look what's happening to the women's game in the last 10 years, I'd say. It's really shot off. And people probably back them again. Nah, it's never going to happen. You're never going to fill a stadium with 70,000 people watching a women's game. And only like
those are
2 weeks.
Different conversations, though.
Why?
They're two very different conversations. Well, mate, because one thing is like it's still the same. It's still the same sport, and it was obvious that it was going to happen because more and more women are following football. So more and more women are playing football as well. Because for a long time it was a sport that it was only played by women in the US because it was a girl sport back in the day. And now like it's becoming more worldwide, like the whole world's becoming more accepting
right, so maybe
of one
men's
another, and that was going to happen.
Maybe
but
men's football yeah, go on, sorry.
For what you're saying to happen, like it's the thing in the US is they have 3 or 4 sports that are prioritized. And I don't see that happening. So the main focus is not going to leave the NBA. It's not going to leave the NFL. And the US is the only country that financially can compete with Europe because Mexico, Brazil, like they're rich countries when you're talking about like the amount of money we have, but they're poor countries when you're talking about the general population, right? Like there's still countries that struggle to maintain like, keep their whole population employed, keep their whole population like being fed properly, all of that. So they're technically like, it's not third world countries anymore. Like it's developing countries, right? Like we're not going to become friends within the next 30 years. That's not like, unfortunately, I don't see that happening. So just because the MLS is never going to get more focused than the other big leagues, I don't see that happening in the US either. But I'm pretty sure we're going to die with Europe still being the big continent.
It doesn't have to get more focused. We're talking about the focus it deserves, which I think is the difference, because it does deserve more focus than it's never going to be as good as the Premier League, bloody blah. But I mean, to be honest, you never know, Michelle. You don't. Maybe one. I mean, look what's happening with the live golf thing. Like the fact that this came in and now all the golfers are going over to this new competition. People are uproared and moaning about it. These sorts of things could happen in football one day. We saw the Super League. We saw what could have happened there. I mean, it might happen one day where the MLS literally goes, right, we're literally going to take over the whole lot. And why not? They're trying to hit a market that they see, that a free space, right, Michelle? Because there's definitely a market, a big market for soccer/football in America.
Yeah, no, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I still think like living here, going to New York, the Big Apple is still a dream. So I think in the world, in soccer world, the market's still going to Europe. I think that will always be the dream.
It always will be, yeah. But I'd like to see.
And these leagues are still going to continue to be as strong as they are.
Always will be. But I just think that the MLS could definitely go higher. I definitely think it could go higher.
It's
not
higher
than them, but I mean than what it is itself. Like it can do better.
I think it would be a stepping stone to possibly go to Europe. Yes, I think it would be, instead of going. So maybe you're a Brazilian player. You don't necessarily have to go to Mexico first and then over there to, or to another club, right? You could go straight to MLS and then get, noticed, and then you take off to, like, for example, Tati Castellanos, he's an Argentinian goal scorer, won the Golden Boot last season. NYFC, they won the Cup last season, and now he just left to Europe because that's his dream. While he was so hot here in the MLS, 23-year-old, I think 23, 20. I don't know. He's young, very young player. But I think that's still the bar that people still want to.
Everybody does want to go to Europe. Yeah, I just wish that it would be a bit more of a free range for everybody around the world to like have people have more interest in other leagues, because I think that's the problem.
But that's already happening, mate. Like it's becoming a lot more competitive overall. Like think about 20 years ago, was there any chance that a big player like Dani Alves was going to go to Mexico, or that the US was going to get so many good players, or Bale going to LA? For a good period.
Even Lingard being linked to the MLS at the age of 29.
That is not new. A big player by any way you want to describe a big player. That's not Lingard. Come on, like how's he big?
Wait.
Are you comparing him to a cat? Like is he physically big next to a couple of beings? Like he's never been
is that
big
because
at anything.
He's danced at the Emirates? Is that why you
No, that's probably why he's big. He's a good dancer that scored a couple of goals against Arsenal. That's an average player, mate. Come on.
They were looking at him. I'm not the club.
Look at the players we're talking about.
I think it
Read
was
the room.
It was DC United, wasn't it? It was DC United that was in for him, because they got Wayne Rooney. Actually, that's a really good quick chat, Michelle.
Right,
Wayne Rooney leaving Derby County, who've obviously got relegated to League One, which is the lowest they've been in, I think, in a very, very long time. And he just skipped that because obviously they're in bad financial issues. Going to DC United, I know that apparently his family were like, they're not too keen because there's not much to do in Washington DC.
Well,
I don't know whether
Wingard
you
will
want to say
probably
that
have a
before you.
good time.
I found that crazy.
I
Pretty sure
think
there's lots to
I
do.
think they have I mean, I'm not a gossip site, but his wife was going through this lawsuit with another
Wagatha Christie. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think there's a lot of marital problems going on there. Honestly, it's a little iffy to me that there's nothing to do in DC where there's really literally everything to do there. But I don't know. I've never lived there, so maybe she's right. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting. DC was doing really bad. Austin FC beat them in the beginning of the season. I think they were winning like 2-0, and then we just swept them, and I think we scored like 3-2, 4-2, coming back in the second half, literally in minute 90. But yeah, it's going to be good for him, whatever problems he may be having, personally. But I think career wise, I mean, this is where he came when he left Europe and came to DC, play for a little bit, and now he's going to be the manager. So we're going to see if he has the capability of leading a team. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting, but right now we're already in the middle of the season, so we'll see where he's able to pick up and kind of restructure that team for next season, really.
Well, look, with Derby, I believe they were minus 21 points deducted, and he still nearly got them out of that. They weren't far off of getting out of that, and that was pretty amazing. And that has to be management, really, with what you've got. So he has got it within him, I reckon. Yeah. Would you agree with that, Marley? It doesn't seem like the type of player or person that would be a great manager. He seems to be very quiet, but then you don't really see what goes on behind the scenes, do you? And the characters that come out of some of these ex-players, new managers.
It's always that's a really tough prediction to make, right? Like to understand if a player is going to become a good manager. Like
crystal ball. Get your crystal ball out.
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard to tell. Like Lampard had all the tools. Like you looked at Lampard as a player, he had all the tools to be an amazing manager. He might still become one, but like you can never tell. Mourinho barely played as a football player.
Right.
It's not always where you have a Pep Guardiola or Zidane that they were both phenomenal, like playing and managing. But Rooney I don't really remember him like speaking. I don't know how vocal he was in his career, but he was always a really intelligent player. So that's something that would have to translate, right? Like you can't be stupid and be a good manager. That's something like the math, like it doesn't work out. Yeah. So he's got that going for him. I know he's got some experience already. He's managed and played at the same time, right? Was that a Derby or a DC?
That was a Derby, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Like he's got a couple of years of experience. I think it's going to be a good trial. The MLS is a good league to experiment, right? Because there's no relegation,
right?
So the stakes are relatively lower.
There should be relegation, shouldn't there?
It's a different system, mate.
So good,
I think there should always be relegation, but it's a different system, one that's been proven successful in the US. So it's tough to argue against it, right?
Right.
They have talked about it, though, haven't they, Michelle? I know there is talk about maybe introducing that, and maybe that the Liga MX and MLS join forces at some point one day. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, about that, we'll see, because their seasons are kind of parallel and they still want to focus on that. So I know it's been an ongoing conversation. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, to be honest. I think they'll have like these little tournaments with CONCACAF, for example, whenever Pumas played Seattle for this final. But are they going to join forces? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see after the World Cup, to be honest. So we're still ways out.
I'd like to see the Copa America join forces again. I'd really like to see that happen, because it has happened before, hasn't it? Right? That at least America have been in it maybe once or twice in the past. Copa America. Has Mexico and America ever been involved in any of those
I think
tournaments?
they've been involved as guests,
Right.
but
Okay.
but Mexican
Hmm.
teams have played in the Libertadores in the past,
Yeah.
and that's a dream of a lot of people for us to have a whole American continent Champions League.
Yeah.
But you know, like
A lot of traveling.
it's yeah, the traveling aspect of that, like thinking about a Canadian club having to play in south of Brazil, like that's what like
On a Wednesday night and
15
then play Saturday. Yeah.
exactly 15, 16, 17 hours flying. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Exactly.
logistics aren't too easy, but it would be phenomenal and it would be very lucrative as well. I can only assume. But
That
then
would be.
again, like it would still have the same problems. Like I'd have a hard time imagining a club outside of Mexico, Brazil, or Argentina winning it often. So it
Right.
would still be very centered anyway.
Yeah.
But then I guess that's what makes the competition. If you have more people in it, then it makes
Yeah.
them stronger as well because they're raking more benefit out of it. But
Mhm.
it would be nice. Well, we're pretty much at the end there. We ran into a few more things. Thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. I know people probably aren't up right now. They will watch it tomorrow because we are mainly Europe. We do have people from all over the world that do check in. Rico S says, without relegation, you playing soccer instead of football.
It's a funny way of looking at it, actually.
Makes sense.
Exactly.
Pick up Rico. Rico, brand new in this as well. Thank you so much, mate, for coming in, Rico S.
Welcome.
And everybody that's tuned in, smash, share, like, subscribe if you can. We've done some transfer shows this week. They're still pretty relevant if you want to go check them out. But Michelle, thank you so much for coming on again. I believe third or fourth time now. I'm keeping count. I think it's third.
I think it's third.
Yes, there we go. We got the triple. Yay! Well done. Michelle, thank you so much once again for coming on. Can you let everyone know where they can find you? You do amazing work. We always try and keep in touch and always see all your Instagrams about what you're doing, especially your work. I think the other day you posted up something with you in front of loads of screens, basically, and you had your feet up and I think it was football on that screen, this screen, that screen. You were like, work's so fun. This is great. And I was like, right, rub it in. Yeah, rub it in. Right. You got a good
No,
job.
it's a lot of fun working in TV, but it's also a lot of hectic schedules and running around. Don't really have a lot of your personal time. So whenever I do, I try to take advantage. But yeah, I mean, people can find me at Michelle S _ TV, all social media, including TikTok. I'm going to try to do a little bit more there. If you're interested in the MLS, Austin FC, right now, they're the team that's very, very new to this league. And, you know, people are starting to notice them, et cetera, et cetera. So all social media, Michelle S _ TV.
Brilliant. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. Marley, shouts out from you, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you, Michelle. It's always a pleasure streaming with you. Tonight was really fun. I enjoyed myself thoroughly.
Awesome.
And well, this is my home. Find me here. I plan on making my cameos on other channels again because I've been really busy lately. And speaking of busy, I'm gonna start asking you guys to follow me on Instagram now. Like I'm doing some cool theater stuff. I look good in my pictures, so please do give me a follow. I'll follow you back. And check my Twitter for more football content. I'll try to be more active in there. And please support our channel.
Yeah, before we leave, though, I have a question. So I feel like you guys obviously know what I do. I'm a news producer, work in TV. What do you guys do outside of this?
Wow, this right. Go on, Marley. I think you already said though, didn't you?
I'm an actor and screenwriter, which is a fancy way of saying I'm very unemployed. But I'm trying. I'm trying.
No, keep at it. I mean, hey, it only takes that one break, man. That's exciting. Good for you.
It does. It
Thank
only
you.
takes that one break, mate. Mine's not as interesting. I literally make parts for boats, yachts, expedition equipment, and stuff like that. So,
Hey,
yeah.
if I ever need a yacht, I already know who I can talk to, you know, for a birthday or something.
Yeah, I could definitely not do that. I don't own them. I just parts, all right, parts, and that part would not get you anywhere, unfortunately.
That's exciting.
But,
Exciting.
yes,
You can probably get a piece of boat that's gonna float better than Leo DiCaprio's one, right? Like back in
right, yeah,
Titanic. Yeah, there you
you'll
go.
be better than that. At least you can put your plant pots on it and have a
It
little
would
bit of a
fit two
garden
people.
before you drown. But yeah, that's what I do. But Michelle, thank you again so much, and everybody that's tuned in today. I know a lot of you have already told me that you'll be watching it tomorrow because you're out having a good party. Actually, we got fellow DJ Maisie from Devils United. Big up to Maisie. I know you're going to be watching the England final against Germany on Sunday, and of course we got the Community
Big
Shield
one.
tomorrow. It's a big game, especially for England as well, and the women. I'm so proud of the women and the way they're doing it as well. Understand that people were ridiculing this competition before it even begun, and just women's football in general, and it really has picked up, and it's boosted this kind of, talking from this country anyway. Like, people are just changing tune, and you can see it everywhere you go, and it's really nice. I'm really happy about what's going on. So big up Maisie as well. She does live watch-alongs, stuff like that as well. Actually, Michelle, you might want to have a look at Maisie's stuff. She really has some really good journalists on from Sky Sports and stuff. She does really good content.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will get Michelle on again sometime soon, not too soon, because I know you're very busy, Bee, indeed, and we don't like to bother you too much because you do fantastic, terrific work, and we want you to keep it up. Don't want to get in the way.
Thank you. You're fine. Whenever I can, hey, I'm here.
Brilliant. And Marley, once again, thank you for coming in, bro. And I shall see you probably at the weekend. We will be back, I think, for Guns from All Corners, and everything's coming back again
Tomorrow. GFAC is back tomorrow. Yes, guys. Yes, that's something that should be said. We're back talking about Arsenal tomorrow. We have Steven and Caio already booked, so it's probably going to be messy.
Not Lionel, but definitely Messi.
No, Messi with a Y. Yeah.
Take care, everybody. Have a glorious weekend. See you later.